Okay, so it's the 15th of February today. Or is it? Yes, it is. Okay. So, I picked this up from Greenwich Market here in Newcastle, and it was 20 quid, so yeah. I don't normally pick up Daypol Daleks, but there's a couple of reasons. One is, this has been sitting basically in this like collector shop for, I think, it's over a year. It might be even nearly be 2 years actually. It's just been sitting there the whole time. And you know, every time I've walked past it, I've kind of ummed and ahed about it. But the thing that really got is to buy it is, last night I was telling my friend about it, how, oh, it's still there. And he said, oh yeah, these have suddenly become rare or harder to get for some reason. I actually checked the listings last night on eBay, and I could find one like this one, brand new in box, and it was 50 quid plus postage. So yeah, which is weird because I used to see these all the time on eBay, but I don't know why the price on these ones have rocketed up. I know there's going to be less of them, and the reason is because, well, Daypol released every colour under the sun you could think of with Daleks, and you know, obviously grey and black, like, you know, it's less interesting and that. But yeah, you could kind of think of this as a Destiny type one, although yeah, weird that the fender's grey and that. Yeah, there's probably a version where the fender's black as well, but yeah, this one's brand new sealed, although the way it's sealed is it's got these little poppers at the top, so you could open it up and then seal it up again. I do like it about that. You can tell, look at the packaging, how old school and that it is. But this is the last sort of packaging revision of Daypol figures. You can tell because of obviously it being a clamshell one, but also the logo and that. But yeah, 20 quid for one of these brand new. I'm pretty happy with this. I am pretty happy with this, and yeah. So for 20 quid, yeah, why not? Why not? Particularly considering, you know, it's new and that in box, so I think I got a decent deal there. But yeah, I think also the bloke I just didn't realise as well, like how much they're worth now, because at the time when he put this up, I remember seeing it for 20 quid, and that was kind of like average price for these at the time when he put that shows how long ago it is. So yeah, it's probably been at least 2 years actually. It's just been sitting there. And I think it's got like one of those things that sat behind everything else, because it was the same place I got the Pyramids of Mars set from, and there, that makes sense why no one had bought it at that price, because it was hidden behind a load of stuff. That's why it'd been there so long. Whereas this was in the window. You could see it in the window, so. But yeah, he also, the weird thing is, he had a brand new 7th Doctor figure sat right next to it, and I think he wanted 35, 40 quid for that. So, yeah. But that hasn't been there very long. That was put there either late last year, early this year, or very early on this year. So, yeah, it just shows how long this has been sitting there, because if he got this now and put that there, I wouldn't be surprised if that sticker was double. So, yeah. But, yeah. Nah. There we go. The reason I don't really collect Daypol is basically, I don't have the nostalgia for it. Basically, I'm too young for the nostalgia for Daypol, unfortunately, because, well, I wasn't born until October 98, so, yeah, I have nostalgia with Product Enterprise and that. Plus, it helps Product Enterprise stuff, you know, is a lot more accurate and as well, whereas Daypol's in that kind of weird valley where it is technically retro, or, you know, now, really. But when I was collecting stuff, it wasn't really old enough to be in the proper retro stuff. This one is from, I'd say, the late 90s. So it's copyright 96, obviously, because of the logos and everything. But yeah, this would have been late, might have even been from 2000, who knows, and that when this actual one was made, who knows. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just not something I have the real nostalgia for. I just don't think they have that retro charm as much as, say, Palitoy Daleks do, or the Dennis Fisher stuff, or even the Mark stuff. Although, obviously, if you want to get a Mark Scarlick, you're much better off getting the Daypol version. One, because they're much cheaper and easier to find. Plus working order as well with all the bits. But also the batteries that they use as well. They use 2 AA's because they have to modify the battery compartment. Whereas the other one takes, I think, a single C cell. Though it has to be a one without the wrapper on. Like the wrapper around the back. Like, basically this would not go because it has a little wrap around the battery, so you'd have to take something like that off on one of those. But yeah, anyway, I've waffled on enough there, so hey, there you go. Okay, so 23rd of March. I'm not quite happy that Big Finish have now switched to using these like paper bags rather than, you know, the foldy up boxes and that they did before, because these things, you know, are not very good at protecting what's inside. I'm assuming this is Big Finish because they're not. Yeah, oh god, and they make a mess as well when you open them up. Oh! Okay, so they are using some cardboard. Like that inside, okay. Okay, that's not too bad then. Because as I said, you know, at least it isn't just in a jiffy bag, which is what they sometimes do. Anything else in here other than the Vortex magazine, which I'd be surprised if anyone actually reads it. Anyway, got 2 things in here. So we've got at the time of recording the last 2 of the Wonks in Future. Although we're still waiting on the final one, which is meant to be like an epilogue type one. So yeah, so what's this one called again? The Time Lord Immortal, which is the last David Warner Doctor Who adventure, and that's the last one. I think it was the last one also he recorded before he died. And that's, but obviously this one is with Christopher Eccleston. There's my number, which is 1968 out of 3000. So yeah, the only thing limited about these are the slipcases that they're in. But yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't done what they did like with the 50th anniversary, where they did like with that one. They did obviously the main 50th anniversary itself, the lights at the end, but also they did like 11 companion type chronicles, and if you bought all 11, they came in this TARDIS shaped box. Yeah, it's weird that they didn't do it with this one. Who knows, they still might, but yeah, I don't know. And in terms of this story, it's alright. It's nice to have, you know, one last one with David Warner in there. I haven't listened to that many of his Unbound adventures. I've only listened to a couple of them and that, but yeah, it was nice to have out, you know, one last go of it. This story also features what's going to feature Livchenko. That's it. Actually, it features Livchenko in an interesting role, because I thought it would have been set after her time with the 8th Doctor, like the previous time she met the 9th Doctor, but no, it's actually set during. I think it's set during some of the events of when she was with the 8th Doctor. I can't remember. To be honest, I can't really remember now. I'm trying to remember the story. It's been that long since I've listened to it. And then the Union, which has Susan, and the 8th Doctor kind of gets the short end of the stick, because not only has this got the 8th Doctor in, he's in it about 50%, and then I'd say the other 40% is Tom Baker, and then another 10% of it, in fact maybe even more, is then just randomly switching between Doctors in this. So if you didn't know the story, basically the Doctor keeps switching between past and future incarnations. at least from his point of view. So yeah, we've got that in this. And I will say it is disappointing that they weren't able to, spoiler alert I guess, but they weren't able to get Max Smith or Peter Capaldi for this. Instead they have Impressionists for this one, and the reason I want to mention that is because in this I can't remember who does the impression for Peter Capaldi, but it took me a solid 2 minutes to realise it was Peter Capaldi that he was trying to do an impression of, because it was that bad. Yeah, I thought it was meant to be some unknown future Doctor type thing or something like that, because I literally didn't. The impression was just way off, like, you know. Because there's the thing of, you know, taking it in your own direction, but, you know, it's still got to be an impression of them. Like Tim Taylor, was it Tim Taylor, whatever. You know, his dinks got up brilliantly, but, you know, he took it in his own direction a bit, but it's still clearly an impression of John Pertwee. But yeah, here, and the Max Smith one isn't much better either. And that, but at least for that one I was able to tell it was Max Smith. Wow, this is quite a late number, 2,918 out of 3,000. Yeah. So yeah, that's quite a late one. This is a mid-ish one in the run. But yeah, as a final story to wrap things up on, it was a decent one. This also features River Song and that in this one, and that as well. So it's always fun having Alex Kingston and that in there. But yeah, it does make me wonder what is going to be the epilogue thing, because this one is the finale, and it's advertised as that. This is the finale of the story arc. The problem is that pretty much there wasn't really much of a story arc. I mean, this is just a kind of story in that on its own, and that along with the others. So the problem that this one has is that it's basically got to do an entire story arc in one, essentially. Like, up until this point, there's been no proper progression in the story arc and that up until this point. So this story just kind of has to shove everything in at once. Which, yeah, quite a lot in that they have to shove in this final story. And that, which kind of just feels like it's just, and as I said, Paul McGann really, you know, along with Peter Davison, does get the short end of the stick in these stories. For example, Colin Baker and Tom Baker both get 1 and a bit stories each, really, because Colin Baker plays the curator in the Peter Davison story, so he almost has, you know, equal screen time to him. And as I said, with this, about 40% of this is Tom Baker. And that's, so, you know, if you're a Paul McGann fan, and that's then he's going to have the short end of the stick. Not that it's not nice to have Tom Baker, but, you know, in terms of separating them out with each Doctor and that, and the fact that this is, you know, number 7 of 8. Yeah, it's a bit odd, just the way that they've done it with these. So, yeah. I will say, though, it did feel a bit more like an anniversary special, I guess, compared to the 50th. Though neither one of them were that much of anniversaries. And that's, for example, throughout all of these box sets, and that this box sets, all of these releases out of all 7, this one's technically the only one that has a Doctor interacting with another Doctor, although obviously with this it's not a Doctor reacting with another incarnation of themselves. In this case, it's literally, you know, from another universe version of themselves. But that's the closest we get to Doctor interaction, because of the way it works with the Doctor switching incarnations. There's never basically any moments of the Doctor really properly, you know, interacting with each other throughout. So if you're hoping for that in any of those, yeah, disappointing in that they didn't go with that with any of them, unfortunately. But there you go. Again, interesting to see what is going to happen in the final one, which, again, why they've kept it until, I think it's April or something like that. Don't know. Anyway, I've rabbited on long enough on this one, so yeah, there we go. Okay, it's the 4th of April today. I did receive this a few days ago. I guess I haven't had a chance to unbox it until now. And I have been listening to it, which is why one of the reasons why I waited to unbox it, because then, you know, I've got a bit more to talk about, rather than just, oh, here it is, kind of thing. But anyway, here it is. Oh, you hear that? There's a loose CD. There will forever be a loose CD in there, because, yeah, I keep these sealed, but yeah, that's a loose CD, unfortunately. So yeah, this is Classic Doctor's New Monsters, Volume 4. Yeah, is the focus working? Yes, it is. Okay. So, this took a while and that to come out, which, yeah, it's weird, because like, they did those first 2 volumes of Classic Doctor's New Monsters, and they were extremely successful, and it took them years, to do a Volume 4, and I think one of the reasons why it took them so long to do that is because I think because the thing is, Big Finish had just been, you know, sort of implementing new monsters into the, you know, their classic series anyway, so yeah, it was kind of making less and less sense, but, you know, they brought them back, and I will say these 2 most recent box sets, you know, this one being the second one, I don't know. I think also it's the kind of thing of slim pickings, to be honest. Like, you know, because, like, for example, the Weeping Angels, you know, are really one of the only, you know, New Who monsters and that are actually marketable, really. Yeah, but regardless, and also with this one, we only get, like with others, we only get 3 New Who monsters. We get the brain. I've forgotten what they're called. Basically, the brains from the 2 Peter Capaldi Christmas specials, Clockwork Droids, and also the Silence, and that. And the first story, which Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Yeah. Is that Body Stealers? Sorry. Yeah. Basically, it takes heavy inspiration from John Carpenter's The Thing. So, yeah, if it's basically Doctor Who does John Carpenter's The Thing, essentially, with that, with a little bit of bit of body snatchers and that fit but basically that's what it is, essentially. And it is a decent story. It's very Hinchcliffe-like. It would fit in very much within his type of era, and yeah, it's a nice, lovely, bleak story to start things off. Yeah, but it is an enjoyable enough one, but, you know, there's basically nothing new. It is technically a sequel to Return of Dr. Mysterio, in the sense that basically all of the brains that survived at the end of that story, you know, go on to this place, this snow base type place. That's it. Or this planet, I should say. That's literally it. That, like, basically, it gets a mention, and that's pretty much it. The second story is Clockwork Droid story, and this one, I don't know, might be my favourite out of the 4. And that, now, just to clarify, I've listened to 3.5 of these stories. I'm halfway through the final story in this box set, so yeah, I haven't listened to fully the final story, The Silent City. But yeah, the second story sounds like, for the most part, a standard, clockwork droids are trying to basically break into this castle, and Doctor has to stop them, type of thing. And yeah, that's what it sounds like, but I'm not going to say anything more about it, because this thing does do something clever, actually. It did actually surprise me in a way that, there are hints and that beforehand, but I didn't generally see it coming. But I'm not going to say what it is. But yeah. Then the order's a bit misleading on there, because it's actually the 8th Doctor story. That's the 3rd story in this, which is the Silent Priest. Which, yeah, we get a story with just one Silent, who is a a priest like the Silent Priests were in was it Time of the Doctor, Maximus last, because we've got Name of the Doctor, Day of the Doctor, Time of the Doctor, Night of the... Yeah, there's so many of the Doctor. I think it was called Time of the Doctor. There was so many of the Doctors that it's hard to remember which one's which. But anyway, yeah. So we have this one where a Silent isn't the villain in this one. He's not the villain in this, and essentially it's just a story about 2 mob boss gangs having a feud, and that. And it's actually an enjoyable enough story. It's an interesting one to have sort of, have a Silent manipulate events and that, but this time, for the actual greater good, or so it appears. Now, the final story, which is the 7th Doctor story, The Silent City, it's a sequel to that, and I can't talk about it without spoiling the ending to the previous story, so yeah, can't really talk about it. But it is a sequel, but obviously with the 7th Doctor, and Big Finish do like to do this a lot, particularly in their box sets with multiple Doctors, where basically they'll have a Doctor, like they do it in this box set twice technically, because they have it so that it's a sequel to, a previous story, but the sequel is with a previous Doctor because it takes place differently in that time. They do that quite a lot with this. And yeah, I don't know how effective it's going to play out in that, because I'm only halfway through it. I remember they did it quite well, actually, in the 2nd Classic Doctor's New Monsters box set with the Vashgenerada, where, in that box set there was, again, 3 monsters, but across 4 stories. But with those, it had the Vashgenerada in the first story and the last story, bookending it. But those 2 stories weren't linked to each other than the fact that they had the Vashgenerada in it. And the link, I'll just say, this time the Doctor was able to save, one more person than he was able to previously. Like, that was the big outcome, essentially. So, yeah. Spoiler alert for that, but I didn't really give particularly anything away with that one. But, yeah. I think the only reason I bought the physical CD of this one is because I got it in a bundle. I remember because I bought it with the 3rd one at the same time as a bundle deal. Because generally, with as I've said before, with my Big Finishes now, for the most part, unless it's some sort of special edition type one, or it's a one that I really want, a physical copy of, generally I will just get a digital copy. And I do share my digital copies with my friends, because that way we're able to afford more Big Finishes. Basically, just rather than having, multiple people with multiple accounts, it's much easier if we just, like, pool resources and that into that, because otherwise, wouldn't be able to afford half the Big Finishes and that I get. So, yeah, you might say that's wrong, but to be honest, I doubt Big Finish care that much. Plus, it means Big Finish gets more sales than it otherwise would have. And also, what's the difference between that and, you know, if I was to share a physical copy, you know, with someone and that, because they could rip the CD if they wanted to. I've ripped Big Finish CDs. I remember initially when I was getting Big Finishes, I got, and sometimes I did still do this, is I get a copy on eBay, because what a lot of people, as I said, do is they buy the physical edition like this, which you get a digital copy of anyway, and they sell the physical copy and basically make money. Basically most of their money back, and someone else, you know, gets the story in that for a decent price who can also rip it. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this Lucozade for a minute. So my mum got me this the other day. I don't drink Lucozade I very rarely drink Lucozade, but my mum got me this because it was on offer. She got one for me, one for my brother and sister, and that because there were 3 for 2 or something. Not a bad new flavour. I asked my mum, what flavour is this? And she said, oh, it's blue. I mean, yes, it says blue burst, but, you know, doesn't really give a description of what flavour it was. My brother had a look and said, oh, it's tropical. And, yeah, it's like... the thing is, I will say, with this, is that, obviously, I think it was a couple of years ago now, basically Lucozade switched to these smaller labels on here, which, you know, I thought, oh, is that to save plastic? No, because the plastic goes all the way still to the end. Like, this is all still the same amount of plastic on the bottle that it was before. So I don't get why this is just clear. Like, why they continue, you know, to have a plastic that goes all the way there when they could just have the label just stop there. Yeah, I don't know, I just find that to be odd. But, there we go, people, there we go. Okay, so it's the 20th of, April a day. Got this package here from Rare Waves, and that's actually Record Store Day at the time of recording this, though obviously this is not a Record Store Day exclusive, but it is a one that I got for pretty cheap because I had a £20 voucher for Rare Waves that I'd saved up thanks to saving up enough points, and hopefully this is alright. Ooh, it's not sealed. Okay, it looks to be alright, but yeah, interesting that it's, yeah, they've been doing that a lot recently, like with these. It's got a slight bit of damage. Yeah, it's got a slight kerfuffle around the corner, but it looks alright actually. So this is Time of the Rani. Now this is a one I wasn't planning on getting until I discovered it has demos, including a demo for, oh, there's a ding at the top. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, there's a ding at the top. That's irritating. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that, but there's like a slight crease there. There it is, yeah. Don't know. We'll see if the record's alright. If the records are alright, then I'll just keep it and that. The good thing about Rare Waves is they do have very good customer service, but this has the demo version of the 1987 version of the theme, which is the only reason I would ever pick this up. This is actually the soundtrack, and that, not the actual story itself, which, yeah, I wish they'd do more soundtracks, actually. Right, just show it. Paper sleeves as well. I will say, though, that this is really nicely mastered, actually. It is decent quality, this vinyl, so, yeah. As I said, how much was this again? So, yeah, I paid £13 and 10 pence for this, minus, obviously, my £20 voucher, so it would have been £33 otherwise. But, yeah, overall, pretty happy with this, and actually I'm going to give this a listen right now, so, yeah, there we go, people, there we go. Alright, got a package here from Big Finish. I don't like these envelope type things that they're sending them in. These type of ones, I really hate them. I wish they go back to the cardboard boxes, because one, oh, look at all the bloody crap this is spilling out of it. But secondly, these things do not protect the box sets very well. This one seems to be alright. It seems to be, this one's thankfully arrived alright. Sounds like it's got a loose disc in there. So this is the 7th Doctor the Last Day, Part 2. And I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. This one was dispatched rather quickly. But yeah, Big Finish. Stop using these crappy things, because one, they make an absolute mess when you open them up. And the other thing is that they don't protect as well. I don't know why, because they used to use, you know, proper cardboard boxes to them, so I don't know why they've regressed back to them. I mean, other than price, but yeah, really irritating. But there we go. Not really, cannot really see much about this. So yeah, other than it's clear it's got a disc loose inside. So yeah.